Good morning. Great morning. Wonderful morning. Spectacular morning. Outstanding morning. Magnificent morning. Beautiful morning. I like that one. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious morning. Yes, again, the beautiful reminder of choice that you have, I have, that we all have. And what is that choice about? It's about our thoughts. It's about how we're going to think. It's about what we're going to make things mean. Remember, everything is fundamentally meaningless. Sit in that for a moment. Everything is fundamentally meaningless. Nothing is good or bad. It's our thinking that makes it so. And that meaning, whatever it is that you have for whatever it is that's there in your life, is important because that is a vibratory state. And that vibratory state is the attractive force in your life. It determines what you're attracted to, what's attracted to you, what you're repelled by, and what's repelled by you. Now, think about that when it comes to everything in your life. You are attracting results into your life solely based by how you're thinking. Change how you're thinking, you'll change what's attracted into your life. You'll change how much you earn, what you do for work, your lifestyle. If none of those things have been changing, if those results have been pretty much the same, you can trace it back to the cause, and that cause is how you're thinking. Remember, you don't become what you're thinking about most of the time. You become how you're thinking most of the time. And how you're thinking is about what you believe to be true, the habits you have, and those beliefs, habits, they can be changed. They are not a fixed condition of things, as what was shared by James Allen in As a Man Thinketh and Out from the Heart, which is what we've been studying. Now, again, sit in that for a moment. Change how you're thinking, change your life. This is why we have these calls. This is why I stepped into this with our, when I say our, I talk about mine and Dolly's great coach and mentor, Bob Proctor, and Dolly did the same thing. We wanted to understand more about who we were and how our marvelous, miraculous, incredible, powerful minds worked. We wanted to understand the inside and what we needed to do to change the inside. And that's what we want for you. This is why we have these calls. This is why we put into play emergence. This is why we share this information the way that we share it with you, to help you to get that, to help you to understand where the true power is, which is all inside. And with that being said, inside of you, you have these wonderful tools, and these tools we've talked about and we've shared with you from this beautiful gem here. There's no such thing as self-sabotage. Now, if you don't have a copy of this book, make sure you get a copy of it. In this book, it shatters the illusion of self-sabotage. There is no such thing, and it shares with you the truth of you. Know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. The truth about how your mind works. And within there, this book that we have for you, we also have the higher mental faculties, of which there is imagination, perception, reason, will, memory, and intuition. And if you use those, which are the tools that you use to shift those inner patterns that are in you and those beliefs you have, you'll change the results of your life. Now, I'm going to read something here from Neville. Again, I really love Neville. And here he talks about the imagination again. And I've talked about this before, but I love this little paragraph so much because of how important it is. And I want you to pay attention to this because, again, this has to do with the inside. It has to do with that beautiful gem that I share frequently of all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made, and how imagination is what that is. And what he says here, he says, your imagination is the instrument, the means whereby your redemption from slavery, sickness, and poverty is effected. If you refuse to assume the responsibility of the incarnation of a new and higher concept of yourself, then you reject the means, the only means whereby your redemption, that is the attainment of your ideal, it can be effected. Now, I read this earlier in a previous session, but I read this again because of how important it is. When we share this information with you, we're actually sharing with you an outline for an image, a picture. And with your imagination, you can clean up that image. And if you're loyal to it, which you must be loyal to it in order for it to lead to a change, you will see the change. Now think about that. Imagination, the starting point of all creation, which is, oh my gosh, so crazy. I was glad I remember the first time that I heard that. I went, wow, it's so good. Now, what have we been studying again? We've been studying this. As a man thinketh out from the heart. And if you don't have a copy of this, make sure you do have a copy of it. And when you do get it, study it. Yes. Memorize it. Yes. Underline it. Yes. Highlight it. Yes. But most importantly, what? Apply it. You must apply the information, just like what I just talked with you before this. I shared information with you. No information, no knowledge has power in and of itself. The only way it has power is when it's used. Now, I repeat this on purpose. Why? Because it's so important. And through that repetition, you'll begin to see, yes, it is through the use that the strength comes. So use this as if your life depends on it. You know why? Because it does. All right, so you guys ready? Type in the comments, I'm ready. If you're ready, I am. Yep, you are too. And let's dive into more of this gem, and more specifically, out from the heart. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, boom. All right, so where we are is on this chapter right here, chapter 6, mental conditions and their effects. Remember, cause and effect. Type that in the comments, cause and effect. Also type this in the comments. Like causes lead to like effects. Mental conditions, cause, and their effects, the results. Without going into the details of the greater steps and lessons of in the right life, a task outside the scope of this small work. Isn't that interesting how he calls it this small work when really it's so huge? But I know what he's talking about here because it's not a very thick book. With that being said, without going into the details of the greater steps and lessons in the right life, a task outside the scope of this small work, a few hints and statements concerning those mental conditions from which life in its totality springs will prove helpful for those who are ready and willing to penetrate further into that inner realm of heart and mind where love and wisdom and peace await the strenuous comer. Now, how many of you are ready and willing right now? Type in the comments, I'm ready and willing. And I'm talking about ready and willing to do what's necessary to deliver great change. Okay, ready and willing, good. I love it. Now, all sin is ignorance. Underline that. All sin is ignorance. It is a condition of darkness and undevelopment. The wrong thinker and wrongdoer is in the same position in the school of life as is the ignorant pupil in the school of learning. Now, that's a beautiful analogy. Let's say this again. The wrong thinker and wrongdoer is in the same position in the school of life as is the ignorant pupil in the school of learning. He, she has yet to learn how to think and act correctly. That is, in accordance with law. You must work with the law in order to think correctly. There's a beautiful book by Raymond Hollywell called Working with the Law. Such an amazing book. And what Raymond Hollywell suggested, and I fully support what his suggestion is when you study the Bible, if you study the Bible, whenever you see God or see a reference of God, shift it to the law. So, for instance, God is no respecter of persons. The law is no respecter of persons. That shift alone changed things for me dramatically. It helped me to see the power that's there and how important it is to work with the law. Because think about that. The law, no matter what the law is, doesn't care about you, doesn't really give a shit about you. There's no respect or view. Think about, for instance, the law of what we call gravity. Does gravity care about you? Does gravity respect you? No. I'll take my handheld device here, which happens to be a phone too as well. And if I let go of this, what's going to happen? Does it care about this? Oh, boom, it's going to fall. Does it care about this book? No, boom. Does it care about my dogs? Does it care about you and me? It doesn't care at all. It will enforce itself regardless of what's there. See, when you work with it, it's amazing. Now, there's a law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect is no respecter of you either. But if you work with it and you understand, oh, like causes lead to like effects, sowing and reaping. Oh my gosh, I'm going to work with the law. Everything changes. Now, the pupil in learning is not happy so long as he does his lessons wrongly, and unhappiness cannot be escaped while sin remains unconquered. Now, before we proceed, for those of you watching this live stream, thing I will remind you of is that everything we're sharing with you here has everything to do with you delivering exceptional outcomes in your life. Because if that's what you want to deliver, if you want to deliver a big, beautiful change on the outside, you must first make big, beautiful changes on the inside. That's the law. So, if this is calling out to you and you're feeling it, stop thinking about it and instead decide right here, right now, and move forward. Go to elevitality.com and register for Master Your Mind. It started there. You'll thank yourself later. Now, let's proceed.